It's another installment of Trillium Talk across the Village Media Network and, of course, available wherever you get your favorite podcast. I'm Scott Sexsmith and very pleased to have with us from our team at the Trillium Editor-in-Chief, Jessica Smith-Cross. It's been a while, Jess. Great to have you back with us.
Hi, Scott. It's great to be back.
All right, lots to cover today, including cops flipping the bird and people pooping on the beach. But let's start with something much more serious and certainly far more important. It seems that more and more parents are turning children with high needs over to children's aid societies because they can't cope at home and aren't getting the support their kids need. This, in turn, is creating some major issues for CASs.
Yeah, that's right. This is a pretty heartbreaking story. What we've been hearing is that more and more parents in Ontario who have kids who have high needs of some kind, it could be a mental health challenge, behavioral issues, it could be developmental issues, but some level of high needs, they're having trouble getting the support they need at home through sort of community services. Developmental services, mental health care. And when things get too much, they feel like they have no other choice but to turn their kids over to the CAS system, to relinquish the parental responsibilities in hopes that their kids will get the care that they need and that they can manage at home. So it's as a parent, that's basically a worst nightmare. I can't imagine it. So we've been hearing that this is happening more and more. It's always happened sometimes in Ontario, but that it's happening in increasing numbers. And in turn, this is actually causing a lot of problems for the CASs, the Children's Aid Societies. Oftentimes they have trouble finding a placement for those children. So an appropriate place for them to stay. They may be too much for a foster family. The group home options either aren't there or are outrageously expensive, especially when the children require a high level of staff care to stay safe. In some situations, in increasing situations, they are being put up in unconventional or unlicensed spaces, like a hotel room, with staff from the CAS, provided by the CAS, with them. We spoke to one director of a CAS who talked about having a child in a hotel room with two staff to one child to ensure their safety, costing the CAS over $1 million a year. And what he said was this isn't really not actually about the money, but it's also about the child who's still not getting the help that they need and the support that they need in a situation like that. So CASs have called it a tipping point, a breaking point. There's a lot of concern about what's happening. And the solutions appear to be a fewfold. They want to see more support for kids before this ever happens. In a lot of cases, can be issues that have built up during the pandemic when support shut down, problems that have worsened. So they want more supports. They want it to be better organized. You get silos between ministries where one ministry doesn't talk to the other. The funding doesn't follow the kid to whatever kind of help they need. And then still as a last resort, one director I spoke with did say that province needs more treatment style beds in places across the province. Not a lot of these things are located in the Toronto area where there are kids across the province who should stay closer to their families. And it's an important distinction, right? You think of CAS, you generally think about kids who have suffered abuse or neglect at the hands of their parents, but that's just not the case here. These are good parents who can parent. But they can't get the support they need for kids who have high needs of one kind or another.
All right, so you asked Premier Ford about this recently at a press conference. What was his response, and what is the province prepared to do about all of this?
The first thing he did was acknowledge the problem, that it's unfortunate that this is happening. And then he said that he is launching an audit to the Children's Aid Societies. So that was met with sort of mixed feelings from the people I spoke with for this article. On one hand, I'm glad he recognizes there is a problem. The former children's advocate says, he's blinked. He's finally said he's going to do something about it. On the other hand, some see an audit as maybe not the solutions that is required to audit their funds. The province knows that the CASs are in deficit. They will probably find out that this is one of the reasons why. The question is exactly what's going to be done when they figure out what the problem is.
All right. Speaking of the Premier, he has just come out in support of a Toronto police officer who appeared to give a citizen the middle finger after that individual questioned the parking job of the officers while they ran in to get a Starbucks. What's the story here?
Yeah, so this was a video that went sort of semi-viral of police officers in Toronto who'd gone to get a Starbucks and parked in what appeared to be a loading zone. So some guy, some citizen who it appears was wearing like Google glasses, the glasses that you can record video with, videoed a confrontation with them where he, gave them a really obnoxious talking to about the parking job and running in to get Starbucks. And so the police at first, say, well, we work an 11-hour shift. We need the caffeine. Well, it's better we park here in this loading zone than over there where there's more traffic. And then as they drive away, you can see one of the cops flip the bird. So the premier's reaction when asked about this was basically 100% support of the cops. They did nothing wrong. This guy who was videoing the thing was creepy. You should give them like a high five or a pat on the back or congratulations rather than getting in their face. And that is where the premier stands. That's how he views all issues with like police. He's a very pro-police premier. It's completely in line with everything we know about him.
All right, we seem to be on a bit of a Ford roll, so why stop now? Beach pooping in Wasaga Beach. Dare I ask what this is all about?
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm kidding. So first things first, it's really not clear that anybody has actually pooped on the beach at Wasaga Beach. That needs to be clear. And the premier acknowledged as much. He's like, there's no proof of this, but there's a viral TikTok going around. And apparently there has been before where someone claims that she's seen this and actually makes some claims pinning it on a particular people from a particular country, and that also seems to be unfair. Anyhow, this thing is going around, and the premier was asked about it, and in the way I guess only Doug Ford can, the statement he gives is basically like, it's not clear that this is happening, but folks, don't poop on the beach. If it is happening, don't do it. The city had asked for him to ban tents on the beach. It's a provincial park there, and he said, no, we can't do that. But and also just don't poop on the beach.
Of all of the things that we have covered on this program, never once did I ever think that we would talk about pooping on the beach. Never had that on the bingo card.
Nope, me neither.
For the most up-to-the-minute coverage of Ontario politics anywhere, log on and become a Trillium Insider today at thetrillium.ca. Editor-in-Chief Jessica Smith-Cross. Thanks for this, Jess. Have a great week and great to see you.
Thanks, you too, Scott.